Good morning. This is PJ, and this is our daily lectionary readings for Saturday, March 16th, 2024. Once again, our psalm reading is going to be Psalm 51, verses 1 through 12, while our Old Testament reading is going to come from the book of Habakkuk, chapter 3, verses 2 through 13, and then our New Testament reading comes from the Gospel of John, chapter 12, verses 1 through 11. Let us jump into our scriptures today. Psalm 51. Generous in love, God, give grace. Huge in mercy, wipe out my bad record. Scrub away my guilt. Soak out my sins in your laundry. I know how bad I've been. My sins are staring me down. You're the one I violated, and you've seen it all. Seeing the full extent of my evil. You have all the facts before you. Whatever you decide about me is fair. I've been out of step with you for a long time, in the wrong since before I was born, when you're after is the truth from the inside out. Enter me then, conceive a new, true life. Soak me in your laundry, and I'll come out clean. Scrub me, and I'll have a snow-white life. Tune me to foot-tapping songs. Set these once broken bones to dancing. Don't look too close for blemishes. Give me a clean bill of health. God, make a fresh start in me. Shape a Genesis week from the chaos of my life. Don't throw me out with the trash or fail to breathe holiness in me. Bring me back from the gray exiles. Put a fresh wind in my sails. Give me a job teaching rebels your ways so you can get lost find their way home. Commute my death sentence, God, my salvation, God, and I'll sing anthems to you, life-giving ways. Unbutton my lips, dear God. I'll let loose with your praise. Our Old Testament reading comes from the book of Habakkuk, chapter 3. A prayer of the prophet Habakkuk with orchestra. God, I've heard what our ancestors say about you, and I'm stopped in my tracks, down on my knees. Do among us what you did among them. Work among us as you worked among them. And as you bring judgment, as you surely must, remember mercy. God's on his way again, retracting the old salvation route, coming up from the south through Timon, the Holy One from Mount Paran. Skies are blazing in the splendor, his praises sounding through the earth, his cloud brightness like dawn, exploding, spreading, forked lightning shooting from his hand. What power hidden in his fist. Plague marches before him, pestilence at his heels. He stops. He shakes earth. He looks around. Nations tremble. The age-old mountains, they fall to pieces. Ancient hills collapse like a spent balloon. The paths that God takes are older than the oldest mountains and hills. I saw everyone worried in a panic. Old wilderness adversaries, Cushan and Midian, they were terrified, hoping he would not notice them. God, is it river you're mad at? Angry at old river? Were you raging at the sea when you rode horses and chariots through to salvation? You unfurled your bow and let loose on a volley of arrows. You split earth with rivers. Mountains saw what was coming. They twisted in pain. Floodwaters poured in. Oceans roared and reared huge waves. Sun and moon stopped in their tracks. Your flashing arrows stopped them. Your lightning strikes spears impaled them. Angry, you stomped through the earth. Furious, you crushed the godless nations. You were out to save your people, to save your specifically chosen people. You beat the stuffing out of King Wicked, stripped him naked from head to toe, set his severed head on his own spear and blew away his army. Scattered there were to the four winds and ended up food for the sharks. You galloped through the seas on your horses, racing on the crest of the waves. When I heard it, my stomach did flips. I stammered and stuttered, my bones turned to water. I staggered and stumbled. I sit back and wait for doomsday to descend on our attackers. Our New Testament reading comes from the book of the Gospel of John, chapter 12, verses 1 through 11. 6 days before the Passover, Jesus entered Bethany, where Lazarus, so recently raised from the dead, was living. Lazarus and his sisters invited Jesus to dinner at their home. Martha served. Lazarus was one of those sitting at the table with them. Mary came with a jar of very expensive aromatic oils, anointed and massaged Jesus' feet, and then wiped them with her hair. The fragrance of the oils filled the house. Judas Iscariot, one of the disciples, even then ready to betray him, said, "Why wasn't this oil sold and the money given to the poor? It would have easily brought 300 silver pieces." He said this not because he cared 2 cents about the poor, but because he was a thief. He was in charge of their common funds, but also embezzled them. Jesus said, "Let her alone. She's anticipating and honoring the day of my burial. You always will have the poor with you. You don't always have me." Word got out among the Jews that he was back in town. The people came to take a look, not only at Jesus, but also at Lazarus, who had been raised from the dead. So the high priest plotted to kill Lazarus because so many of the Jews were going over and believing in Jesus on account of him. And here ends our readings for the day.